Hi, Ace. How's it going there today?
I am fantastic.
Am I getting you from the New Jersey area of the world or the southern part of the U.S.?
You are getting me from the Midwest. I am currently in Ohio.
Got it. I bet it is exciting out there. But speaking of exciting, your match is always exciting, and you've been on TV in a high-profile way a lot lately. You're in the main event picture. Did you expect that it was going to happen literally 5 years into your career?
I would be remiss to say that I'm surprised. I didn't get into this. I didn't work so hard from the time that I was so young to not be where I'm at right now. So this was always the goal, and how fast I got here is nothing but a testament to my work ethic, my raw talent, and the raw potential that I possess. So, I can't say I'm surprised. This is what was meant to be. That's why I've been using the hashtag inevitable a lot lately. I think I like to add that to my moniker. Okay, I am the inevitable Ace Austin.
I don't know if I should restart the interview and just start calling you the inevitable Ace Austin, but if I can continue with compliments here, I don't know if you want to hear compliments or you just know all this to begin with. You tell me.
Oh, of course I know all this, but I love to hear it. Please continue.
Okay, so your entrance to the ring is one of the few entrances where everybody knows to look, yet there's no pyro, the music isn't anything stand out. Have you always been doing that entrance since you started in the professional spectrum?
No, I haven't. When I first started wrestling, I started training when I was 17 years old out in Pennsylvania. And the Pennsylvania, the State Athletic Commission, the laws were that I couldn't perform on a show until I was 18. So I had to train for, almost a whole year before I was even allowed to get into the ring in front of a live audience. So when I first started wrestling, purple was still my shtick. Purple was my favorite color, so I've always tried to have that as my underlying, tone. Not professionally made, very fabric-y kick pads. I didn't have any entrance gear or nothing, but I still had the card, and I always had that. I've always had that ace up my sleeve. As I grew, I was working at Hot Topic. I got a job there when I was 14 years old, and I held it all the way up until wrestling became the number one job for me. It pays all the bills now. So, working at Hot Topic at the time, we got this sweet purple trench coat in the store. I had an employee discount. The coat went on clearance. Bada bing, bada boom. I paid almost nothing for it. I handmade the patch on the back of that trench coat, and I sewed it on myself by hand. It took forever. And then, my look got even better, started to grow. I switched to trunks because I have amazing legs. And then the staff. I found the staff, and that was a very big moment for me. I remember seeing that staff for the first time, and I remember saying to myself, that is going to change everything about me, about my character, about my career. So I grabbed the staff, and then I didn't know what I wanted to do with it at first, and I spent some time in some independent locker rooms with some of my friends after the show, trying to just think of a way to do this. I've always been big on presentation. It's something I was taught, and innately, it's just something that I kind of knew because I was big into musical theater when I was in high school and everything, and stage presence is something that, of course, we've talked about a lot. Being able to kind of draw attention to you and be the most important person in the room. So I knew that I had to do something with this staff to encompass that. Now, working as a young man on the independent level, when you're working these shows in gyms and in VFW halls, there's not going to be pyro. There's almost never going to be smoke, nothing like that. So I decided to create my own sense of pyro, and that's where the staff comes in. It's something that you can't look away from. It's something that nobody's ever seen before. And it was a combination of what I used to do for my entrance, the one-handed cartwheel thing. That's just something that people knew me for when I was in high school even. I used to do that one-handed cartwheel all the time when I was coming out onto the stage or anything like that. So I just kind of brought those two things together, and it definitely worked.
You mentioned Hot Topic, which for anyone listening abroad may not know it, but it is a great retail store that has a lot of music and wrestling kind of gear and all that. Were you ever a punk rock kind of guy, or was wrestling always your number one?
Wrestling was definitely number one. Wrestling has just been embedded in my brain as what I was destined to do from the time I was 4 years old. So my two favorite things growing up were pro wrestling and superheroes, actually. So so going from that, Hot Topic was a store that I liked a lot when I was young. Like my sister shopped there back when it was like a gothic store, and then she kind of got me into it. I had a very diverse musical influence on me from everyone in my family, like my sister having a certain type of musical interest, my older brothers having very different types of musical interests. So they all kind of, I had all these bits and pieces. My mom was big into country music. And then when I was about 14, I was kind of in a place in my life where I was just looking for some sense of responsibility, some sense of independence, and I wanted to make my own money. And that's where I was looking for some kind of I thought I'd have to get like a fast food job or something crazy, something crappy like that. But when I went into Hot Topic one day, I found out that they were looking to hire 14-year-olds, just like a boy and a girl, to try to appeal to like a younger crowd, and maybe just a concept. They kept me around because I did a good job. I worked hard, and so that opened up my musical taste even more. And then being in the musical theater, the show tune aspect, just a very wide range of lots of music. But yeah, and I was a musician in school as well. Of course, being in musical theater, I was a singer. I played percussion instruments in the band. I was in the chorus, all through my school years for 9 or 10 years or whatever. And yeah, but pro wrestling has always been at the forefront. It's always been the focus. I knew that everything in my life was going to be temporary because pro wrestling was going to be the permanence.
You mentioned just an interesting thing there about singing. I find that the wrestlers who can't sing always sing, and the ones who can sing usually don't. Will we ever see you sing in anything Impact related?
You definitely can't. I couldn't say no, but so there's definitely a possibility for it. Why not? Hey, people like a good singer, and if I need it, I'll bring that out.
Fair enough. So back to what I was saying, that you are in the main event picture of Impact, which is very exciting for people who like great wrestling. Is there an ultimate goal for you? Is it just be world champion, or is there something greater that we don't know about?
Well, when I started this at 17, I was under the impression that it was going to take a long time to get to the top. And I was okay with that. I've always been patient, and patience is a skill of mine, I would consider. So I was patient, and it's that patience that ended up getting me so much so quickly, because I never pushed, and I was just right place, right time. That's the phrase I'd like to use for my whole career so far. I've always been really good at putting myself in the right place at the right time, and you got to be ready when that kind of thing comes. And I've never been anything but ready. So my goals, they fluctuate with whatever's going on with the climate at the time. So I'm not looking past the fact that I'm going to be the youngest world champion in Impact Wrestling history. But not only that, there hasn't been a champion under 23 years old in the modern era of professional wrestling. And that's going to be me.
What I'm picking up on is some people might not like you because you seem overly confident, but everything that you set out to do, you kind of made happen through a combination of work ethic and natural talent. Am I right about that, at least?
You're absolutely right about that. And the thing about what makes Slammiversary so special, being in the main event picture alone is something that, you know, I didn't think that I would be able to do, because I thought the people in charge wouldn't put somebody so young and so early on in their career in that position. I always knew I was ready. It was just a matter of getting them to see that I was ready. So it was inevitable. Once they put me in that main event picture, it's exactly where I belonged. I became X Division champion, and some people might consider the X Division to be, you know, not the main event or be a mid-card thing or whatever you want to call it. But when I was X Division champion, I ended up in that main event picture right after I became the champion. I made it a main event aspect because I'm a main eventer, okay? And the thing that makes Slammiversary so special, the Slammiversary main event, no less, so special for me, is last year, I wasn't even booked on Slammiversary. I wasn't even on the show. And that was pretty disappointing for me at the beginning of my Impact career there. But now look at it. Now I'm in the main event. This just goes to show.
It just goes to show, and being respectful of your time here, 2 quick questions, and then you are free from this New York-based conversation. And the first question is, when all this blows over with travel restrictions, where is Ace Austin going on vacation?
The quarantine has been a vacation, man. I don't need a vacation. I don't need days off, okay? Pro wrestling has been the most important thing to me for as long as I can remember. For the entirety of my conscientious life, I have done everything with pro wrestling in mind. When I started wrestling, I refused to take time off. I didn't have bookings every single weekend when I was 18 years old, but what I did was I jumped in the cars. All the guys that I knew that had bookings, I went with to try to help set up the ring, to just look for those opportunities to put myself in the right place at the right time, as I said. And that was a major key in coming so far so fast, was just my face being seen so much. And then when they were finally like, hey, let's give this kid an opportunity, I smashed it every time. And so I've never, wanted, needed, looked for time off. So the quarantine was just kind of an unwelcomed vacation for me. And I enjoyed it. I spent some time playing some video games, which is something I haven't had time to do in a long time. And I got to do some movie watching, some movies I never got to see. I caught up on Star Wars. Star Wars has been such a big thing forever now. I had never seen it. I watched all the Star Wars movies. They're masterpieces. They're awesome. So when everything's lifted, I'm going straight back into week in, week out, nonstop work, because that's what work ethic. That's what it takes to be the one to race.
Everybody should be learning from Ace, it sounds like. And you've kind of given me all this already, but I'm going to ask you the closer, and that's any last words for the kids?
Any last words for the kids? Well, you can't rely on anybody but yourself. You got to make your own luck. You got to always have an ace up your sleeve, and that's how that's how you make your dreams come true. That's how I'm going to become the youngest world champion, not only in Impact history, but the youngest world champion in the modern era of professional wrestling.